Welcome back. I am Carrie Locke. This is CS115, and we are continuing Chapter 2, the Internet. This is Part 2. So now we're moving into domain names and IP addresses. So an IP address is, IP is short for Internet Protocol. So you can think of the Internet Protocol like postal addressing. So how does the post office know how to deliver mail to my address or your address? How does Amazon know to get mail to my address? How does UPS know how to get mail to my address? It's a standard addressing scheme. It doesn't have to be just the post office that delivers mail to my address. It can be different companies that deliver to my address. So an IP is a sequence of numbers that uniquely identifies the location of each device connected to the internet. There are two different IP addresses currently in use, IPv4 and IPv6. The IPv4 addresses were too small. They were running out of IP addresses, so they came up with IPv6, which increased the number of available addresses exponentially. IANA, or the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority, is responsible for overseeing IP address allocation. It's a standards organization. It oversees the IP addresses, the DNS root name, which we will get to, media, and a bunch of other stuff. Domain names. Domain names. I'm sure you've heard this term. So domain name is a text name that corresponds to the IP address of the server that hosts the website. So if we all had to remember IP addresses in order to navigate the internet would not be very popular. Because, I mean, I don't even remember people's phone numbers anymore. My phone remembers everybody's phone numbers. So we're not very good at remembering numbers for places that we want to go. We would not have the explosion of the internet that we have today if we had to remember the numbers of all of the different websites that we wanted to go to. So domain names are partially responsible for the explosion of the internet. So part of the address that you type into the browser's address bar, it's the part of the address that you type into the browser's address bar to access the website. The suffix of the domain name is the top level domain. It identifies the organization associated with the domain. I'm going to show you a graphic on the next slide. It identifies the organization that is managed by ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, and that approves and controls the top-level domains. The country code, the CCTLD, is the two-letter suffix of the domain name that includes the country code. We don't generally see this because a lot of the websites that we navigate are within the United States, so they don't generally have the country codes. Sometimes you do. Some examples are Australia.au. Our country code is .us. Again, you don't see that because we're within the United States. United Kingdom is the UK. So the IPv4 and IPv6 and domain names. The IPv4 and IPv6 use the hexadecimal format. So the hexadecimal numbers are represented by 0 through 16 and then A through F. I've had people submit things to me. They're like, yeah, this is the number that you want. And I'm like, no, it has an S in it. I know that it's not the right number because it has an S in it. So IPv4 has 32 bits. IPv6, you can see, has 128 bits. If you remember those ones that I showed you, there were 8 ones laid out. So think of 32 of those ones, and then think of 128 of those ones for possibilities. It gives you an idea of the binary, not quite, but it gives you an idea. Again, those top level domains. So now, I don't know if I can have a pointer. I don't have a pointer on here. I'm sorry. I will for the next one. So if you look at the domain name, Google would be the root domain name. And then the .com would be the top level, or TLD, the top level domain. So some examples of the top level domains are .com for commercial, .edu, which I'm sure we're all familiar with, is education, .gov for government, .mil for military, .net for network or commercial, .org for nonprofit. There's also on this graphic an example of an IPv4 address and an IPv6 address. So it doesn't show it on here, but the country code, so the .us, the .us, the .ua, or the .uk, that would be after the .com. So it would say google.com.us. The domain name system. The domain name system is a method that the internet uses to store domain names and their corresponding IP addresses. So a DNS server translates the domain name to its associated IP address. This is what does all of the work. So this is how your IP numbers get translated into names. So your book is it's a little bit misleading. It says that your DNS server is usually associated with an ISP. There's lots of DNS servers. Most companies have their own DNS server. Here at the university, we have lots of DNS servers. There are lots of DNS servers. It's not just the ISP. I'm not sure why they said that. I think because in personal use, for your home use, your DNS server would default to your ISP. So your internet service provider would be your default DNS server. That's who would be resolving your IP addresses to your names, to your DNS names. So I think that's why they said that in your book. So you enter the domain name in your browser, and that sends it to the DNS server. The DNS server returns the IP address and then sends the request to the website. It's an oversimplified version, but it gives you a general idea of what's happening. So DNS failures will cause internet connection failures. So you will fail to connect to the internet if your DNS connection is not working. You will see that inside of companies, as I said, if your company is running its own DNS server. You can type the IP address directly into the browser. So your browser speaks IP. Your browser speaks geek numbers. Moving on to the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web, web. It's a worldwide collection of electronic documents. So the World Wide Web is different from the internet. The internet is the framework that holds the World Wide Web. The protocol or the set of rules that allow for the collection of electronic documents. A web page is an electronic document on the web. It can contain graphics, text, animation, audio, video, lots and lots and lots. It can be static, which is fixed, or dynamic, which is changing. A website is a collection of related web pages and associated items. A web server is a computer that delivers the requested web pages. A browser is an application that allows the user with an internet connection to access and view web pages on a device. There are many different browsers: Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer, Safari, Opera. Those are some of the most popular ones. Browsers quite often offer mobile versions of their browsers. They often nowadays allow you to export the settings, so you can export your bookmarks and your favorites. You can also sync the settings nowadays so that you just log into the browser, and then on the different devices, your bookmarks and your settings are automatically synced between the different devices. Safe browsing, safe browsing, safe browsing. So you should verify that the website is safe. If you're typing the address into the address bar, be very careful. Quite often, people will purchase domain names that are very similar to popular domain names, including financial domain names that are very similar or commonly mistyped domain names. You can hover over links within a website, within a web page, to see the link. When you hover over a link in the bottom of the page, it will show you in the bottom of the browser on the status bar. It will tell you what the link actually is. You'll understand that a little bit more when you complete the web page assignment. So you can also clear your browsing history. On Chrome, it does not allow you to do that by default, so you'd have to go into the settings and do that. On other browsers, you can set it up to automatically clear your browsing history, like every time you log out, once a week. You can use a phishing filter. You can install automatic phishing filters. Pop-up blocker, same thing. You can install automatic pop-up blockers. Pick something that's pretty well known, that has really great ratings. Check the reviews. You can browse anonymously. You can use private browsing in Firefox. You can use incognito mode in Chrome. The World Wide Web. The World Wide Web is synonymous with Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee, in 1989, wrote a paper called Information Management, a Proposal. So prior to this, information was linked hierarchically. In other words, if you wanted to find something, you had to go from gardening to slugs to snails. You had to step through it step by step, as if a tree. And what he offered was that links should be connected in a non-linear form, a web type form. So the hyperlink had already existed. What he offered was merging the concept to internet technology or web pages. Now you can see the first website ever created, and that is the first website was info.cern.ch, and there's a simulation available at http /info.cern.ch / I'm going to try to see if I can bring that up. Where is that one? Oh, here, I'll just click on it. So This was the first website. And what's cool is this was pretty amazing. So it might not seem like much right now, but this was really, really awesome. Another thing I'd like to state about the technology as it evolved is the technology as it evolved was not designed with security in mind. It was designed to get it to work. So when you're trying to connect four universities together, you're not thinking about somebody invading your technology. You're just trying to communicate. You know, you're trying to get login to work. You're trying to get to G, LOG from LO. You want to get the G to appear. So security was not in the forefront of their mind when they're trying to get all this complex technology to talk to each other. These you got to remember, these are servers that are room-sized servers and cables that are running miles and miles. So they're trying to get this stuff to work together. They're not concerned with somebody from the outside getting in. So security is something that has always had to be added into this technology. So Lee was also the director of the W3C. W3C is the World Wide Web Consortium. It sets web standards for development and technology, specification guidelines, software, and tools. You can design a website and you can upload it to the page. You can upload the link to W3C, and they will validate it for you. They'll also check it for accessibility. They will check. They'll check it to see that it adheres to all of the current standards. And they'll give you a little seal to post on it too. So remember that the internet connects devices and that the web connects information, documents, web pages. So web addresses. So a URL, a Uniform Resource Locator, is a unique web page address. So our protocols are HTTP, HTTPS, FTP. Those are some of the examples. It has a domain name. Sometimes it has a host name, a path to a specific web page or file name of a web page. www here means a web server. So I think my head is in the way here. I got to reverse this. It's like driving a boat. So the beginning of this, you have HTTP, which is your protocol. And then you have www, which is your host name, which is a web server. And then you have your domain name. Now you have, for history, that's your path. That's going to be your path on the server. And then places.htm is your web page name. So that is your actual web page. So now we're going to go into the different types of websites. This section is covered pretty extensively in your book. I'm going to try to breeze through this because this section is pretty long. They start with search engines. I'd like to point out here that today Google maintains approximately 90% of the market for search engines. If you look up the search engines, I'll have some websites later on in these slides that are pretty interesting. But right now, Google has about 90% of the market share as far as search engines are concerned. I would like to pause here and go over some of the searching tips, though. Use nouns. Order matters. So the first word has the higher precedence, the last word has the lowest precedence. You can use and dictate the precedence. So privacy and internet and laws. Plus or a space means include both words. Or means include only one word. So privacy or internet would return web pages with the word privacy. It would also return web pages with the word internet. It would not necessarily return web pages with the words privacy and internet on them. You can use parentheses to combine searches. It helps to narrow your search and be more specific in your search, such as garden and snails or slugs. So that would return garden, web pages with garden, the words garden and snails, and web pages with the word garden and slugs. You can use the minus sign to exclude words from your word search. So if you wanted to use the previous example, so say garden minus snails, it would return web pages with the word garden, but all web pages that did not include the word snails. Use double quotes around your phrase to match the word or phrase exactly. And the multiplication operator can be used as a wildcard. So child star returns child and children, etc. So social networking sites. I think a high proportion of us should be familiar with the social networking sites. Social networking sites can be used for business or professional use, though. As some of the rules for social networking sites, choose carefully and choose your friends carefully and limit the number of friends that you have on your social networking sites. Also be aware that for job interviews, social networking sites, some businesses look at your social networking sites for your jobs. So if you're interviewing for a job, some businesses, quite a few nowadays, are looking at your social media sites. So just be aware that could happen. Prohibit email address book sharing. They tend to spam people if you share your address book. Divulge only pertinent information. Don't give out your address book, your phone number, that sort of stuff. Be leery of anybody on a social media site that has an urgent request for help, a Nigerian prince scam. Read the privacy policy. You'd be surprised. I actually saw malware one time that was a PDF writer that in the actual EULA, it stated that they would be installing malware because people don't read them. So they just went ahead in their EULA and they said, oh, we will be installing malware. Just by visiting our site, you'll be getting malware. And if you install the software, we'll be installing malware. They went ahead and stated it right in the EULA because most people don't read it. So they figured, why not? It was very, very surprising to me and the person who had obtained the malware. Manage your profile settings. A lot of times in your profile, you can adjust your privacy settings and set quite a few things in there. Facebook changes that all the time. Don't use the same passwords. Don't use the same passwords on your social networking sites as you use for your financial sites, as you use for your work or your school. And don't use the same passwords on your social media sites as you use anywhere else. You shouldn't use the same passwords over anyway, but especially not your social media sites. Use a password manager these days. Informational sites, library, encyclopedia, dictionary sites, media sharing, share photos, videos, music, etc., news, weather, sports, other mass media sites, educational sites. You all should be familiar with that because we're using one right now. Formal and informal teaching and learning. Blogs. Blogs are informal, time-stamped diary, journal, or opinion column format websites. A blogger is one who hosts a blog website. Business, government, and organizational sites used to increase brand awareness, company background, promote or sell products, provide public information. Wikis. Wikis can be public or private. They can be corporate. They can be public. Again, they are collaborative. They tend to organize. They tend to be for organizing, editing, and sharing information. Health and science. They can be medical, fitness, nutrition, exercise for the public. Astronomy, physics, robotics, research, collaborative for the science ones. And again, they tend to be for the public. A lot of the national labs will have websites. Entertainment sites, music, videos, shows, performances, events, sports, games, tickets, travel and mapping. You can book flights, hotels, rental cars, map your destinations, find locations. Google Earth is an awesome example of that. Careers and employment. You can post jobs, you can search for jobs, employers can post jobs, search for employees. Financial sites, online banking and trading sites. Shopping and auction sites, there are electronic storefronts used to sell and purchase goods. An online auction is where users bid on an item being sold by somebody else. You can have apps now for your phone. There's some really awesome apps. I can't think of the names of them right now. If you're interested, send me an email. There's some really, really cool apps if you want to sell things nowadays. E-commerce, electronic commerce, they're used for business transactions over an electronic network. They can be business to consumer. They can be consumer to consumer or business to business. Some tips for online shopping. Read the customer reviews. Read customer reviews. You'd be surprised how often the customer reviews are really spot on. Watch for the HTTPS up in the where you enter the domain name. See, that's cool. Everybody knows what that is now. Up in the address bar where you enter the domain name, watch for HTTPS. S is secure. Look for the little lock. They have a little lock up there now. Check the web for website details. Be wary if they're requesting too much information. You can also use a separate credit card or a separate account. A lot of banks are offering separate bank accounts now for online purchases. A portal. A portal is a website that offers a variety of internet services from a single location. So we mentioned ISPs. ISPs do this. MSN does this. Yahoo does this. Google does this. They'll have a search engine. They'll have news, sports, weather, web publishing, reference tools. They try to give you everything all in one. Streaming is the process of transferring data in a continuous and even flow. It allows the users to access and use a file. It also allows you to access the file while it's transmitting. Web publishing is the development and maintenance of websites. You can plan, design, create, host, and maintain. There are all sorts of online resources for this now. You can actually plan, design, create, host, and maintain your own website now right online. And they have templates available, so anybody nowadays can create a website. Actually, that's a really great assignment idea. Media on the web. Multimedia is any application that combines text with media. Media is graphics, animation, audio, video, and/or virtual reality. A graphic is a visual representation of non-text information, drawing, chart, or photo. So I'm going to go through pretty quickly the different types of graphics. A bitmap. Bitmap, they have some general definitions. These are from the book. They have some general descriptions of uses for these. These are interchangeable, and remember that these change. These uses change. They're dynamic. They're not static. They change every day. They could change in a moment. So bitmap, generally desktop backgrounds, scanned images, GIF. I always call it a GIF, but I guess nowadays everybody calls it a GIF. A graphics interchange format. It's an images with few colors, simple diagrams, shapes. Those tend to be motion nowadays. They tend to have motion in them. JPEG, joint photographic experts group, camera pictures, game screenshots, movie still shots. One of the most popular formats for graphics today. PNG, portable network graphics, comic style drawings, line art, web graphics. Again, one of the most popular type. TIFF, tagged in image file format. Photos used in printing, in the printing industry. That tends to be pretty correct. Audio, music, speech, or any other sound file. They're compressed. The MP3 is compressed at 1/10. The MP4, I don't have the compression rate for that. If you want to know, email me. I'll find out. Or if you know it, then let me know and I'll post it. You need a media player to play these software. It's software that's installed on your system, or it's software via a web page. Pictures, video, I'm sorry, is pictures in motion. They are also compressed. They tend to be in MP4 format. Virtual reality, the use of computers to simulate a real or imagined environment. It appears in three-dimensional space. You explore these interactively. Virtual reality, the wave of the future. Some other internet services. Again, remember that there are other internet services, that the web is just a service that sits on the internet. Email, email lists, instant messaging, chat rooms, discussion forums, VoIP, voice over IP, FTP, file transfer protocol. We're going to look at some of those real quickly now. Oh, actually, I wanted to show you some of these. So let me tell you what these are real quick. So the first one is a cable map. It's a submarine cable map. They call them submarine cables. Those are the cables that go up through the water from continent to continent. And I want to show you a map, a current map of what those cables look like. They connect networks across continents. The other one is the state of the internet by Solar Winds. I believe that one is the Twitter. So that is how many tweets are tweeted currently. How many tweets are tweeted at sunrise? The next one is some data statistics, some real-time data statistics. The next one has some internet facts. And then the last two are 1 second on the web. Those ones are pretty neat. So let me show you these. So that one was that's our data chart, which I told you about already. So these are the submarine cables. These are the cables that connect the different continents, the different cities. These are the internet cables. It's pretty amazing. Those are the cables that are run underwater that connect, that are the internet connections. These are hardwire, by the way. These are not wireless. It'd be pretty cool if you could go wirelessly across the ocean. Yeah, these are the internet cables. These are just the ones that are underwater. These are not the ones that are over land. Couldn't find that map. Get the connections. One of the videos that you have in your list of videos to watch will show you how they actually lay these. These are called submarine cables, and it'll show you how they actually lay these. It's pretty amazing. All right, the next one. The next one takes a second to load. Okay, apparently it takes. There we go. So these are all of the tweets. Oh, no, these are the website outages. So this one shows you a real-time map of the different outages. Now, these are put on by different. This one is SolarWinds. SolarWinds is a security company, and these are HTTP errors. So it shows you what they say are the top browsers: Safari, Chrome, Facebook, and then they show you Facebook, Internet Explorer, Internet Explorer. They show nobody using Internet Explorer. Top devices: iPhone, desktop, tablet, TVs. It's pretty neat, though. They show you in real time all the different outages. Okay. This is the amount of data in real time. So this is gigabytes. So this is byte. This is 8 bits in a byte. And this is in real time. I'll post all of these links. This one's pretty neat because it also shows you the different sites. So if you wanted to see Twitter, it shows you the amount of tweets. Facebook, the amount of likes. 11 million likes. That's how many likes in real time. Right now, that's how many likes are happening. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this one has all of the different statistics. So this is just a list, and then you can click on the different sources. Has all the different statistics. One of the most fun things here are domain names. You tend to purchase domain names. I mean, they can run $10 a year. So the voice.com went for $30 million. Wish I had gotten that for $10 and then resold it for $30. But this one has a bunch of the different statistics. 3 most popular web hosting companies: Amazon, Endurance, GoDaddy. It just has a bunch of different statistics if you're interested. And then this one is a lot of fun. So this shows you how many tweets per second. So this is 9,000 tweets in a second. And then Instagram. 1,000 Instagram photos uploaded in 1 second. Tumblr. About 2,000 Tumblr posts in a second. And then data. 100,000 gigs of internet traffic. Now remember, capital B is bytes. So gigabytes of internet traffic in 1 second. Google. 90,000 searches in a second. And then YouTube. 90,000 YouTube videos viewed per second. This is per second on the internet. Emails. So this one's interesting because if you notice here up at the top, it says these colored envelopes, these dark envelopes equal spam. So every dark envelope is a spam email. So 3,000 emails per second, and every dark envelope here is a spam email. So this one is fun. And then this is basically the same thing. It's just another source for the same thing. Domain name registrations. We know what domain names are. Amount of data created, amount of data traffic. So it's a lot of fun. Blog posts. Okay, let's see. Aha, we'll get there. Other internet services. Email, short for electronic email, transmission of messages and files via a computer network, requires credentials and an email program, which is an email client to create, send, receive, forward, store, print, and delete email messages. You don't always have to have credentials to send email. Just as an FYI, generally you have to have credentials. Some good email practice tips: keep the messages brief, respond promptly, use proper grammar, spelling, punctuation. Never respond to unsolicited email messages. Never open unsolicited email message attachments. Use meaningful subject lines. It could get deleted if you fail to include a subject line. Read the message, do a proofread before sending it. And email can be used as a permanent record of communication. It's quite valuable in business. Instant messaging, real-time communication, it can be used for personal or professional business purposes. It generally includes voice and video, a chat room, a website application that permits users to chat with other users, real-time typed conversation. Again, business or personal use. Give me just a second. I seem to have misplaced my mouse. Discussion forum, message board. We have that. We have a classroom discussion for every chapter on Web Campus. You post messages. They have threads, which are messages that are all related. Voice over IP becoming more and more popular. Your voice over IP allows you to speak to other users via the internet connection instead of your regular telephone wires. FaceTime uses VoIP, uses voice over IP. I'm trying to think of the telephone service that became popular with VoIP. I can't think of the name of it right now. I can't think of it. It'll come to me. FTP, file transfer protocol. It's an internet standard for uploading and downloading files between computers on the internet. Uploading is a process of transferring files from the device to a server. Downloading is the reverse process of transferring files from the server on the internet to your device. Netiquette it is short for internet etiquette. It is a code of acceptable behaviors users follow while on the internet. So some of the social issues. This is not in your book. These are current Net neutrality, you've probably heard about these. Net neutrality is defined as a principle that individuals should be free to access all content and applications equally, regardless of the source, without internet service providers discriminating against specific online services or websites. So this was going through uh, Congress, and this was a big deal. I think it was last year that they res- they restricted net neutrality. It was interesting to me because the language that they used in net neutrality was that they were going to create a fast lane for businesses. But as I stated earlier, internet traffic flows according to the speed and capacity of the devices that are connected to the internet. So if you're going to create a fast lane, there's really no such thing as a fast lane on the internet. It's like saying you're creating a fast lane on the Autobahn. Because on the Autobahn, you can go as fast as your car, which is your hardware. You can go as fast as your car allows you to go. You creating a fast lane on the Autobahn is just silly. It's nonsensical. But the way that they described it was that they were going to create a fast lane on the internet. They wouldn't be creating a fast lane unless they slowed down the other traffic. So if unless they intentionally slow down traffic, that's the only way to create a fast lane. Currently, the traffic on the internet flows as fast as the hardware and, of course, software, but basically the hardware. Currently, as fast as the hardware allows you to travel. Now, the caveat to that, of course, is your ISP. If you're connecting to your ISP at 10 megabits per second, then you can't connect at 25 megabits per second. But generally speaking, universities, businesses, you're as fast as your connection is, that's as fast as you can travel. So all websites are created equal in the sense that they're not slowed down. But the way that they described it was the reverse. Okay, enough on that one. Section 230. Section 230 states that no provider or user of an interactive computer service shall be treated as the publisher or speaker of any information provided by another information content provider. that is it's very confusing, and it's legal mumbo jumbo, but basically it means that companies, specifically in the media today, social media sites, are not liable for content on their site, content posted on their site. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't know where I stand on this. So whatever I say, please do not misinterpret it. I will say that I don't know that computer people are the best people to police social media sites. I don't know that computer people are qualified to police what's posted on social media sites. My experience is computer people are great with technology, but I don't know that they're the best. I mean, that's the opinion that I would say on that. But I don't know where I stand on this issue. This is a very complicated issue. If you have somebody speaking on an issue, are I don't know. People are putting up disclaimers all the time, stating, we do not whatever stated in this show. The network does not support the views expressed in this show. So, we're a sue happy society. It's hard to say on this one. I have no idea. So I posted, I think 1 or 2 items on this. Please watch them, form your own opinions on this. The next one is filter bubbles. The algorithms used to curate content to users generates information bubbles where you are only being given news stories and social media posts biased to your existing beliefs, isolating users from differing viewpoints and perspectives. As far as filter bubbles, so this started years ago, and I posted, I think, a couple items on this for you. All of the things that I posted are 10 minutes or less. And I hope you enjoy them because I tried to pick really good ones. Excuse me. So this started years ago because they started targeting uh, marketing and specific things to you specifically, so that they could sell to you better, so that they could advertise to you better. And the algorithms work really, really well. And one of the consequences of that are these filter bubbles that you are getting when you're online, you are getting content that is specific to you. And I think a lot of people are really not aware of these filter bubbles. And so when they go online, that they believe that they're getting the internet, and they're not. They're getting an internet that is specific just to them. The resources that I provided are pretty good on this. It's interesting that the man that I provided was talking about this in 2013, and this is so relevant today. So again, watch the stuff that I provided, form your own opinions on this stuff, but I just want you to be aware of what's out there and what's happening. So now to the fun stuff. The dark web. The dark web, systems on the internet designed for communicating or sharing information securely and anonymously. There's not just a dark web. It's not just someplace you go on the internet. It's just like the World Wide Web. It is a web. It's the same technology. It is the same technology as the World Wide Web. It's HTML documents. It's the same code that's used. It can be used for nefarious and non-nefarious purposes. So there's a lot of illegal activity out there on the dark web. There's also a lot of people that just want to be anonymous. They just don't want. They don't want to be tracked. They don't. They're anti-tracking. And so they're out there on the web, on the dark web. The dark web, it's not indexed the way that the web is. So remember we talked about IPs. You need to know the IP of the website that you want to go to on the dark web. And I don't recommend this. I'm not saying go find an IP of a dark website and go explore it. Please, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you want to visit a dark website, then you need to know the specific IP. There's no DNS involved. There's no name association. The Tor browser is used for that. They call it an onion browser because there are layers and layers of encryption, and you go to multiple different servers. You travel through multiple different servers, which help hide your original location. So this is the Tor browser. You notice it has the little onion up for the O. Nice, I'm getting a call. Okay, so not allowing me to click on it. Okay, well, we're going to ignore that. So this is the Tor browser. And it says defend yourself, protect yourself against tracking, surveillance, and censorship. So again, the Tor browser is not necessarily the technology in itself is not bad. Um, Technology in itself is not bad. It's what people use it for that um, that decides whether or not it's bad. So the Tor browser is here. Again, I'll post all of these links. So if you wanted to try it out, if you wanted to download it, there's nothing wrong with this site. This site is fine. The Tor browser is fine to download and install, and you notice it's available for Windows, Mac, Linux, Android. So if you wanted to investigate that, that is available to you. Let me go back to, we're just about done. Hang on here, hang on, we're just about done. The deep web versus the deep web. So remember I said that the web is indexed. That's called the surface web. What you see every day is called the surface web. It means it's indexed. It means it's public. It means everybody can see it. The deep web is not the same as the dark web. The deep web is the invisible web. It's hidden. It's used for developing websites. It's just not indexed. That's the difference. So the deep web, don't get confused when people talk about the deep web. Ooh, the deep web. It's not the same thing as the dark web. Just wanted to make sure you guys knew the difference there. Okay, here we go. Chapter summary. So you should have an understanding of the internet and the World Wide Web. You should know how they both evolved, little bit about how they evolved. You should know the key terminology and have a basic understanding of how they work. You should be able to differentiate them. How each individually, how they interconnect, and the types of technology used for each one. You should know some of the safety and security protocols for each one and the social implications. So for this chapter, review the study guide and the terms at the end of the chapter. Check the videos that I posted. That should help. Assignments and projects for this chapter. Watch the videos, as I just stated. There's an email and search engine project. Just research any topic of your choice. Select a picture on that research project that encapsulates the topic. Download that picture and email it to me. So that's all you have to do. You don't have to, and then you have to follow the instructions that I posted. Please follow the instructions. Make sure that you state in the email what it is. I detailed out the instructions, but you don't have to actually do a lot of research on the topic. It could be something easy. I think I put in the example, the state bird of Oklahoma. Could be the state flower of Nevada. Nobody should have the same on this. So if there's 30 students in the class, I should get 30 different research projects. Please don't use the state bird of Oklahoma. Web page projects. So you get to create your own HTML web page. Now, this would not stand up to the W3C test, but it is a quick little web page using the I think it's 18 HTML tags. It's just real simple, but it's a lot of fun. And if you haven't coded before, this will be your first coding project. There's some supplemental information that should help with the chapter. Remember, there's going to be a quiz on Friday. I'll post a quiz on Friday on the syllabus. That'll be open book. It'll be probably the only open book test for this course. And have some fun. I hope you have fun with this chapter, because this is the internet and it's what we use every day. So now you know all about it. You know how it works, how it connects, you know, all the fun terms and all the fun stuff, like how many tweets we have per second, which is astronomical. Alrighty. Thank you so much for listening. And That's it. Email me if you have any questions. I'll see you in office hours if you need anything. Have a great week.